Those two things are serious. What has to exist and what cannot exist. And once you find those two things, that's the only person that I was going to settle down with. Period. I don't care. Don't tell me, you're going to turn. Well, maybe one day we'll see. No, if you're not that way right now as we're talking, then I don't want to find out later you can't make the change.
Hi, my name is Cherie, and this is Life is Cherry. Hi, everyone. Today is just kind of one of those special days where we have a fun topic that we're going to discuss today. And I have Idrise with me again today. And we're just going to have a fun chat about maybe some of you guys have thought about this or questioned this, but why we see so many people over 40 that are single, and why aren't they interested in getting married anymore? Why isn't marriage the main goal anymore? It just seems like things have been changing over the past decade, it feels like, and we're just going to have a discussion about it. So I'm going to bring in Idrise. Hi, Idrise. How are you doing?
Hey, what's happening?
Not
wait till they see your workout. We worked out the other day, ladies.
Yeah, we're like hanging out almost on the daily now, right?
Yeah, she didn't like me too much yesterday. She was giving me these side looks. My legs are kind of noodly.
Yeah, I struggled walking up and down the stairs a few times today.
And I took it easy on you too. So.
Yeah, no, it was a feel good. It feels good even though it hurts.
It hurts so good. That's
right. Well, today we're just kind of doing one of these fun topics. And I think that it's a good one to talk about because it's the way our world is changing, and it's actually playing into a lot of the way millennials think these days too. So I think it's an important conversation. So
I think that, if you look at who the millennials are getting their examples from.
Yeah.
From their parents who are single and won't get married. I just noticed it in, when I was single a couple of years back. So many people like, I don't want to get married. I don't want to get married. They want relationships, but they don't want to get married. Why we got to get married? What's the big deal? I love when people tell me something's not a big deal, but they don't want to do it really bad. That means it's a big deal.
One way or the other, there's got to be some emotion attached to that, right?
Oh, there's a huge emotion. If I said to you, if you said to me, hey, let's buy these curtains, and I was like, that's not a big deal. Just go ahead. It doesn't matter. Then you would just go buy whatever you want. And if you came home and I was like, I can't believe you bought that, you'd be like, I thought it wasn't a big deal. It was a big deal. So when someone tells me marriage isn't a big deal, what's the big deal? It's just a piece of paper. I'm like, yeah, a piece of paper you don't want to sign.
Yeah. That's
a piece of paper you're vehemently against signing, which means it's a huge deal.
Yeah.
Marriage is a huge deal. And for people to try to minimize it, it doesn't even make any sense. Otherwise, they would just get married again. Yeah. And they say, I don't want to get married, that's not true either. If you've ever been married once, then you wanted to be married. It just didn't work out. Okay. And now you don't want to be married, but you did want to be married. So if it would have worked out, would you be saying the same thing? Probably not. And every girl that I met that said she didn't want to get married, I was like, peace. Because I'm not hooking up with somebody that's just hanging out with me for a moment, and at any moment she's going to take off. And that's what's going on right now.
Yeah. And I think there's just so much information out there that is so pro staying single. It's kind of interesting because when I had mentioned doing this topic with you, I just did some searches just to see what would come up, just to kind of see what, if I were single at the moment and I were wondering that same question, and just looking up on the internet as to get some information as to why people are choosing that way. There's a lot of support groups out there to say, hey, it's cool to be single in your 40s, and this is why. I found multiple articles about why you should get divorced when you're in your 40s. And I think they were originally set up to be a support group, but I think that now they're kind of coming off as being the way to do things. It's like the choice that you should make instead of it being something that maybe you should stay in the relationship and work out. But I think going along with what you were saying, I think that people definitely are not wanting to get back into a relationship because of past experiences. I think that's a huge deal with why we see so much of it.
Look, if you are walking through life with your eyes closed and not paying attention to who you are as a person and the mistakes and the things that you need to improve on, then you're not growing. And a lot of people stop growing. They just stop. They want to. I've had people say to me more than once, I go, why do you want to be single? And the first thing they say is I don't want nobody telling me what to do. I want to do what I want. And I'm like, why can't you do that in a relationship? Why are you getting in relationships with people that are telling you what to do? Why are you getting in relationships with people who want to let you be you?
I think it's that fear mindset, don't you think? Like, do you think that they are just like feeling trapped in a relationship because
they don't know how to be in. Listen, if you don't know how to be in a relationship, of course it's gonna suck because you don't know what you're doing in it. You know how many relationships I've been in and didn't know what the hell I was doing? Virtually, pretty much all of them. This is the one I'm in right now. This is the only relationship that I went into knowing exactly how I wanted the relationship to be. The only one, because I never actually said, what is it that you cannot do in a relationship? Like, what cannot exist? What has to exist? Those two things are serious. What has to exist and what cannot exist. And once you find those two things, that's the only person that I was going to settle down with. Period. I don't care. Don't tell me, you're going to turn. Well, maybe one day we'll see. No, if you're not that way right now as we're talking, then I don't want to find out later you can't make the change. I don't want to find this out later. And I tell my girlfriend, don't take me if I'm not exactly what works for you. Don't sit there and go, well, I know you like to hang out with your girlfriends all the time, and I don't really like that, but I'll go ahead and see. No. If you want to hang out with your girls and that's really important to you, don't compromise that. Don't sacrifice that. Find a man who's okay with that.
Yeah.
Do you see how simple that is? Find someone who's actually okay with the life you want to live, and then you just live your freaking life.
Yeah.
But here's the problem. It's hard to find, and people are impatient. I met, because I don't want to call a date a cup of coffee or a text or a phone call. That's not a date. But online, I met a lot of people, and all I did was see what kind of world they wanted to live in. Like, in the perfect world, what does that look like to you? And they'll tell me, I want to do this, I want to do that, this, that, I want to get married, no marriage, I don't want to have kids, or I want to have whatever it is. And if they said things that was different than what my future looked like, I was done. Yeah. I didn't ask them to change. I was like this, hey, it was nice meeting you, but we're good. And a lot of them are like, they were like, what do you mean? I'm like, you want different things than I do.
Yeah.
Well, the relationship takes sacrifice. I'm like, no, don't ever sacrifice something. Because when you use the word sacrifice, that's something you have to have. You can negotiate your compromises, but you can't negotiate your sacrifices.
Yeah.
Sacrifice is a must.
We talked about that before too, and
yes,
that's
we did.
a big deal. I mean, a lot of people, I think I actually reached out to a few friends that have gone through the single part of their life at this stage in life, because I have a different story. I have a different way of looking at things because I've been married for 18 years. But my friends that I reached out to, a lot of them were just telling me kind of that play into that exact thing where they felt trapped in relationships and they felt like they couldn't have any freedom in a relationship, and they have all these negative things that make them think of a relationship is. And it's exactly what you're talking about. It's because they didn't go into the relationship asking or letting the other person know what they needed. And that, especially here, like where I live, where people get married so young, they don't know how to ask for those things because at their young age, they don't even know what they want yet.
That's what I was getting ready to tell you. Let's be real. I know 50-year-olds that don't know what they want. I am dead serious. Yeah. Remember, I'm 56 years old. I just figured this out. So for all you out there thinking like, oh, he don't know, he don't understand. Yeah, I do understand. I actually lived it. Only difference between me and you is I found my way through the forest.
Yeah.
I found my way through the forest because the one thing that I don't do is I don't lie to myself. A lot of people lie to themselves and they say things to themselves that aren't true. Like, I don't care about this. Yeah, you do. You just know it hurts. So you rather just act like you don't want it. I don't know one person. Like, I've loved women, they'll go, well, I love being single. I can do what I want. I can blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, what about, well, I got my toys, my sex toys. I'm like, really? Sex toys don't buy flowers. Sex toys don't take you to dinner.
What?
Sex
They
toys,
don't give you that emotional side that they need?
see, and think about this. If you're never getting someone saying, hey, I love you, you're the, imagine if you didn't have, see, you have something that a lot of people never had. You actually have a husband that gives a damn. And he always is making you feel like you're special.
Mm-hmm.
See, if you never have that, I was in relationships where we were just in the relationship. It wasn't that they were bad people. We just didn't do those things. We didn't enhance each other's existence. Like, in my opinion, you have to make your person, I always say, you're not special until someone sees you that way.
Wow.
A lot of people, a lot of women especially, run around thinking they're special. A lot of men do too. But, oh, I'm so special. Not unless if somebody doesn't see you as special, you ain't special.
My mama told me I was special, though.
Well, my mama told me I was special. Exactly. Yeah, you're special to your mama. But you ain't special to me. You ain't special. She ain't. If some girl walked down the street and she was all that in a bag of chips and her idea, she ain't special to me. She ain't done nothing for me to be special. She ain't done nothing for you to be special. So you have to actually find someone who finds you special.
Yeah.
See, your husband finds you special. So what does he do? He acts like it.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't hold you back. He wants to push you. He wants you to be the best you can be. People don't marry people. That's why I remember I told you the reason most people get divorced is because they should have never got married in the first place. This is what I mean. They never knew, and I didn't know, these are the things that have to exist to have a successful marriage. You have to actually find somebody. Like, when I met my girl, I said, tell me what you're about. And I know she didn't have those answers because she never thought of that stuff. But I said, you have to know what you're about before you pick me. Yeah. You have to be able to tell me, this is what I'm about. I said to her, would you live in Texas? Would you move? I didn't tell her what my thoughts were. I asked her, would you move? Because see, I don't make concessions. Like, if you tell me, I don't care how much I like you. When I was younger, I would lie and be like, okay, I'll do it anyway. I don't want to get married. I do. Okay, maybe I'll think about it. That's what we do. And that's why I always say, the longer girls would get mad at me. Girls would say that I was too fast. That's a red flag. You're too fast. You move too quick. Because I would ask serious questions day one. Yeah. I'd ask about marriage. I'd ask about children. I'd ask about where you want to live. And they would look at me like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm like, no, honey. Because if your answers don't match up to what my future is, we're done today. The relationship is over right now. I'm not going to do this 3 months later when I like you a lot and you like me a lot. And now when you start telling me you don't want to do things, I'm like, well, okay, well, maybe. And that's what people do. They don't want to have the serious talk right away. You know how many people have told me, God, you bring up serious stuff right away. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you don't want to waste your time and you want to be able to move forward and know that your goals are the same way. And that's,
if you're not right for me today, let's end it today. Why spend 3 months with somebody that you don't have a future with when you could be dating those 3 months looking for that person? Yeah. And that's what people do. They spend years in a relationship with the wrong person, and the right person's walking past them every day at work or walking past them on the way to the coffee shop. And you're not available. You're not available to talk to them. So you never get to meet that person. Yeah. Or you meet somebody and you hit off with this person, but you got a relationship and you got to walk away from it. Happens all the time. Yeah. All the time. So I just learned, stop acting like it's the relationship. It's how you're approaching the relationship. It's not the marriage. It's how you're approaching the marriage. Yeah. Marriage is just a word. It's just a word. How can marriage is bad? No, your marriages are bad because you don't know how
Marriage
to
is
be in a marriage.
the
I've had women tell me, "Oh, exercise doesn't work for me." I'm like, "Oh, it works for everybody else that does it. How come it doesn't work for you?" Or maybe because you don't do it consistently 3 to 4 days a week for 3 to 5 years consistent.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't do that. Okay, well then that's why it doesn't work for you.
I love that. There's actually one of my favorite movies that I love to watch. My husband and I love to watch funny shows at night because we just want to have good vibes going to bed. We always want to wake up with like having great energy. So we watched this couples retreat. I don't know if you've ever seen it before.
I've heard of it. I've heard of it.
But it's funny because there's this couple on there and they're having a hard time getting pregnant because they want to have a family and it's just not working out, and they've tried for so many years, and they get their friends together and they're going to put on this like presentation, and they're like, these are the reasons why we possibly might get divorced, right? And they have all these like charts and everything, and they're like, we need to know if this is worth sticking it out and trying to have kids and everything, or if we need to go down this road. And they went to all this work putting together this huge presentation on what would work or wouldn't work in their relationship, and their friends are all just sitting there like, oh yeah, that you really did that from the heart, like good job there, right? Like, and they don't realize that all the effort that they went into trying to figure out what was wrong with their relationship and why they couldn't just be happy together, they put all their work into that instead of putting it into actually having a good relationship and working towards a good relationship. Because even if they didn't have kids, there's other options, and they were just falling out of love with each other because of how hard it was.
Should we think of this? This is what I noticed. This is what I noticed. And people out there, a lot of women, you'll need to, when someone is talking about something that you disagree with, try just listening without your own thoughts involved in what you're hearing. Because a lot of people can't stop thinking about their own side to actually open up their ears to hear what someone else is saying. Yeah. I did not get where I am today by just, you're wrong. I finally had to say, look, what you're doing isn't working, because I don't want to be alone. I didn't want to be single.
Yeah.
Can you be happy single? I can't be happy single. A lot of people say, oh, you have to learn how to be happy alone first. I'm like, I will never be happy alone. I can be okay. I can exist. But I like giving to someone. I like doing for someone. I don't get happy buying me another car, buying me another pair of shoes, buying me a jacket. Like, why am I buying shit is like the shortest amount of fun ever. As soon as I'm buying it, I'm like, yeah, 2 days later, I could care less about that jacket.
Yeah, and it's the difference. I love when people talk about the difference between happiness and joy, because happiness is like a goal, like how
about the word fulfillment? How about fulfillment? Yes.
Yeah, it's very temporary. So you're like, oh, I'll be happy when I get this job. Well, when you get that job, you're going to be like, well, I'll actually be happy when I get promoted.
A raise. And keep going.
You keep raising the mark there, and you keep trying to reach all this happiness that is never actually reachable because you made it untouchable.
You got to learn to be happy alone. And I was actually buying into that. I bought into it for a while until one day I was like, I'm not happy alone. I was alone for 2 years. I wasn't happy. I was like, I like doing for somebody. I like putting a smile on someone's face. When I put a smile on my girl's face, she cooks dinner more. So I'm like, okay, I do this, and she shows joy by doing that. So I always receive because I'm always giving. Yeah. I don't even look to receive. This is the one thing about, if men are listening, and the women are like this, all you women will applaud to this. Women will always do more for a man than a man will do for a woman. It's just natural. So I don't worry about what I'm getting back. I just give as much as I can give, because you'll always give back more than you get. The good ones. I'm gonna say every single woman. Some of you out there, don't pat yourselves on the back. But the ones that do know what I'm talking about. But let me go back to what I was. What was I going to say earlier? It was real important. I'm happy alone. No, you're not, because like I said, I was trying to be happy alone, and I realized I'm not happy unless I'm giving. Keep talking. I'll get back to what I was going to say. I should have said it, but I was letting you talk and I couldn't.
Oh, sorry about that.
No, sir. No, sir.
So I don't know. I think that what is your perspective on why so many people just want to stay single then after?
I think they want to stay single because they don't know how to be happy. They don't actually know how to do it. They don't know how to pick a person. When you feel like you don't know how to pick a person, why would you get into a relationship? Why would you even try?
Yeah.
And then some people get too picky. And I don't mean by too picky by saying you shouldn't have what you want. What I'm saying is they want it all. I'm sorry, nobody has it all. There's always going to be something about a person that you don't necessarily care for. It just can't be a deal breaker. Like I told my girls that, I said, look, I can get mean when I get upset. I grew up with two sisters and I couldn't punch them in the face because my dad would have whipped me. So I just learned how to get real nasty with the tongue. And it never went away. So sometimes when I get upset or you hurt me, and it's usually if I get hurt by you, I get kind of nasty and I'll say some mean stuff. And I told her, this is what I do. I'm just telling you, I do it, but I don't like it. It's not okay. This doesn't work anywhere in life. So when I do it, let me know and I'll stop in my tracks. And that's exactly whenever I do it. Doesn't happen all the time. But when I go there, she goes, you're being mean. And I stop. Because we love to go into relationships. Women do this a lot. Men do it. We love to tell the person all the wonderful things about us. I like to take long walks on the beach. Me and you talk about that one. I'm like, why does everybody like taking long walks on the beach? I like taking short walks on the sidewalk. Okay. But we tell people all the wonderful stuff. We leave out the other stuff that actually breaks up the relationship.
Yeah.
They don't tell you the other stuff. So when
you want to hide that stuff, you don't want people to know that stuff, right?
Exactly. And that's why you break up.
Yeah.
Why are we all divorced? Because we never had that conversation.
Yeah.
We never actually said, you know what? These are the things about me that you're going to love. These are the things about me that ain't so great. However, I'm working on them.
Yeah.
Because people aren't working on them.
Yeah. And you have to be open when you're in a relationship. I know even throughout all of our marriages, we've had to have those conversations over and over again because we may be out hanging out with other friends and we may hurt the other person, and you need to come back and say, okay, this is the way you made me feel. This is what I would like moving forward if you didn't do these things. So we constantly have those conversations, because if you're afraid to have those conversations, then you are going to feel trapped in your relationship. You are going to feel like there's no way out and you're the only one suffering, when really, when it comes down to it, you both are probably suffering and you just can't have that conversation.
I remember what I was going to say.
Okay.
How come, especially women are really good at this, even so, a little more than men. Y'all are really good at having girlfriends, besties, BFFs, right? How could you have a BFF for 50 years, but you can't have a husband for 5? Think about that. You know why? Because you tolerate more bullshit from your BFF than you do from the person you married. I don't know one woman with a BFF that I go, everybody goes, I want to marry my best friend. I'm like, really? You would marry somebody just like Cindy? Actually, no. Because I can tell her anything, and they'll have a whole list of other shit about Cindy that ain't so marriageable.
Yeah.
But yet they still maintain that relationship.
Yeah.
So people are willing to put up more with people that they can detach their heart from. Mm-hmm. Because they'll claim that this is my best. No, it ain't. Your best bestie should be your partner, your husband. Because I said to I had an ex-girlfriend that used to always tell me about her girlfriends, and she's there for me always. I'm like, really? I said, we've been together 5 years and I ain't seen her pay your rent once. I ain't see her pay your phone bill. I ain't see her pay your car note. I've done that. I don't see her picking up your kids from school. I'm picking them up. I don't see them taking them to practice. I'm taking them to practice. So who's your bestie? She's your bestie. I'm the one you put to the side for somebody who ain't doing nothing for you, but an ear every now and then. That's what we do. We actually do that.
Well, that's the thing though, is like you have all these different things that you do for each other that are so connected to you emotionally in your relationship. They really are. Because like if you don't pick up the kids, then that hurts her, that ruins her day. Like there's all these things and it's a string of all of these things that you help out with. And I am very opposite of that. I do have great girlfriends, but I 100% my husband is my best friend. If we can't go on a date and have a conversation and just be best friends and not have to worry about all of that other stuff, then we're not best friends. And so we make it a point to make sure that we stay best friends. And so I've been a
And
little bit different in that way.
your friends don't even. I love women. Kill your friends. She knows me better than anybody. No, she don't.
No.
Don't nobody know. Don't nobody know you better than somebody that's sleeping next to you.
Yeah, it's true.
Nobody knows you better than your wife or your husband, because your best friends aren't around when you're not. I tell people, I know what you let me know. That's what I know. I know what you allow me to know. Like even your husband, you and your husband, as much as you'll know each other, you don't know everything about each other.
Mm-mm.
Because I met my girl when I was 53 years old, 54 years old. All she knows is what I've shared with her about my 54 years.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff never comes up. A lot of stuff never comes up. It ain't like I'm gonna go, oh yeah. And then in the 6th grade, we went to the Natural Museum of Art. That's not, unless it comes up. A lot of your life never comes up. The
Yeah.
only things we talk about are things that we find significant and worth talking about.
Yeah.
So you don't really know anybody.
Well, you
And
need somebody too that is going to always be there in your lowest points, but in your highest points, right? And sometimes it's easy for friends and easy for people who you don't see on the daily to be able to be there for you in your lowest points, right? Because they can tell when something's wrong.
I
But
think it's more than that. I think they also can't affect you the same as someone who sees you every day. Like if I tell you my
yeah,
deepest, darkest pain, you're not going to be able to, I'm not going to be vulnerable to you after
mhm,
you find out. If I tell this person my deepest, darkest, now they got action at getting under my skin. They got action at pushing my buttons. They got action at me.
yeah,
So a lot of these people get into these relationships and they don't really give to the. This is why I told you about people over 40. Why? It has nothing to do with marriage. It has nothing to do with the institution of marriage. Most people have no concept of how a real relationship works. Like honesty. The one thing everybody always says, I just want somebody who's going to be honest. Let's be real. Most people have no concept of being honest. They lie all the time. They lie. I love this about women. I go, women like, oh, I want a man who's just honest. Fake eyelashes, fake hair, fake boobs, fake butt, fake. Like, what do you mean honest? Like,
Okay, wait. So you want him to come out and say, "I have all this fake stuff," or
no, but what I'm saying is stop acting like every part of you is real and
yeah,
everything about you is real, because it's not. It's nobody's that way. We
yeah,
all keep things in that we don't want people to know about.
yeah.
We all don't. Hey, how do I look in this dress? You look great, but you don't really mean it. We lie all the time. We lie. I told my girlfriend this straight up. I go, if you want me to really be with you, and what's really funny is I don't lie to her. I say stuff to her that she wish she didn't even ask. And a lot of people will be like, wow, Idrise, that wasn't nice. And I'm like, yeah, but she now knows after 2 years, if I ask him, I'm getting the truth. Because
Yeah,
he says things that most people won't say.
yeah,
So now she trusts everything I say because I don't ever lie about any of it. See, most people will lie about the little stuff. Well, they'll lie about the big stuff, but they'll be honest about the little stuff. I don't lie about any of it. If you
yeah,
ask me how I look in this dress, I'm going to tell you how I think you look. I'm going to tell you how I really feel. Otherwise, don't ask. Because it doesn't. The other day we were going out and she was like, how do I look in this? And I was like, how do you feel in it? She was like, well, I don't feel like. I said, then does it matter what I think? If you don't feel good in that dress, change it to something you feel good in. Because even if I tell you look great, you're still going to feel the same way.
Yeah.
You're going to walk out the house with this uncertain feeling because that's how you feel. So stop asking me how you look in something unless you already have an opinion of it. And if you have an opinion that you look great and you can go, do you like this dress? I can tell you if I like it or not. But how you look in it, you need to like that. You need to be okay with how you look in it because you're the one wearing it.
Yeah.
I never ask her, do I look good in this or not? I just put it on.
I do ask my husband how I look, but maybe it's because I also am like,
no,
just like
how you look is one thing. Do I look good in it is another. Because like women will go up and down in weight and they'll be like, do I look fat in this? Do I look this? If you think you look fat in something, change it.
Yeah. You want to have that confidence level before you go out.
That's what I'm saying.
Feel good about yourself.
So this is the problem. So think about this in relationships. If you're in a relationship with somebody that you can't be honest with, you're living a lie and you're living in minefields. And a lot of women, I'm sorry, ladies, you'll make a lot of dudes walk through minefields just to have a relationship with you. Well, you can't say this because of my past. You can't say that because of my past. You can't say this because of my past. I met a girl once and we went on a date and she comes by and we were just friends hanging out and some song came on and Mariah Carey came on and she was like, oh my God, that Mariah, oh, don't play Mariah Carey. And I knew where she was going with this. But instead of saying it, I was like, what do you mean? I wanted her to say it before I said it. Because then she could have jumped out the window if I said it first. So I'm like, no, I'm gonna let her go ahead and start this fire and sit in it for a minute. So she was like, well, that was me and my ex's song and and I was like, oh, so what you're telling me is if you and I are gonna date, I can no longer listen to Mariah Carey. I got to take Mariah Carey out of my playlist because of you and your ex. I go, what else about you and your ex that I have to change my life to accommodate that because you didn't finish what you started? Yeah. Do I have to take the Nikes out of my closet? Do you wear Nikes? I got to take the Nikes out of my closet? and she kind of looked at me and I go, think about what you're saying to me. You're asking me to change my life because of your past.
Yeah.
Shouldn't you deal with your past before you move on into a new relationship? And people don't do that. The reason so many people are single is because they don't move from their past. They don't go into their past and go, what went wrong? What they do is this. They point to the other person. That's all they do. They point to the other person. I always tell people that what our exes did is well documented in triplicate form on computer, sepia, and microfiche. Because we say it all the time. What we did, not so well documented, not so well published. So what I did was when I left my ex, I was like, okay, what did you do that wasn't so great? What did you do to contribute to some of the problems? Because you're the one moving on. You're the one that's going to the next relationship. Are you going with the same crap you brought to the last one? Because we all got some. Yeah. We all got some crap. So are you taking your crap from relationship? Because that's what I was doing. I was taking my crap from relationship to relationship with the same result. Not good. Yeah. So this one, I was like, okay, what is your crap, dude? And I was like, okay, you can do this. You can be this way. You got to change that. You got to change that, dude. And then there's things about me that I like that you may not like. Yeah. Like people go, you're very opinionated. You're damn right. You don't like it? Hit the room. I like that about me. Yeah. I like that I'm honest. I like that I'm straightforward. I like that I speak what's on my mind. Yeah, and you can't sacrifice those things. Those are things that make you feel who you are. And that's what people sacrifice. They sacrifice stuff that actually makes them happy. That's why I'm not in a relationship that I can't do what I want, that I can't say what I want, that I can't. No, my girlfriend, about 6-7 months in, she was like, wow. I go, what? She goes, I've never been in a relationship like this. I go, she goes, I can say what I want, do what I want. I have free autonomy to just be me. I go, you're 43. You don't need me coming around at 43 telling you what to do, telling you how to live. Well, I think everybody kind of feels that way when they get out of these relationships and they feel like, okay, I don't want to go back to that. And so they have this fear of losing that freedom. And when you're with somebody who's actually going to support you and be a good help for you and want the best for you in your life, they're going to be
somebody to add to what you have, right? Like they're going to lift you up. If you can find somebody that is okay with those things you don't want to sacrifice, then your world opens up to so many
And
possibilities.
you have to be okay with theirs. This
Yes.
is like I always tell people, I would tell them, like, they go, what are you looking for? And I would give them this long list. And then I would go, you know how hard it is to find the right person? Because not only do you have your whole list of things that you need, don't need, blah, 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 but then you have to find somebody that has that same list and has to feel the same way about you.
You mean it's not just their important list?
It's not just on them. They have to actually. That's why I tell people, I was like, I said, there's not that many people out there that I actually get along with, because my girl laughs. I'm not a walk in the park at all. I am not an easy dude to be with, because I say what the hell's on my mind, and I don't care if you like it or not. It needs to be said. It's going to be said. Now, what you do with that information is on you, because you can tell me anything. I'm not going to care. I don't care how you say it. I don't care if you're screaming. I don't care how you say it, because that's the emotion that's attached to it. I'm not going to tell you. You can talk to me if you bring your voice down. If their voice is up, that should tell you just how much it's bothering them.
Mm-hmm.
So when she tells me stuff, I just hear the words. I'm like, okay, this shit really bothered her. So I better do something about this, because this really bothered her.
Yeah.
And I get all the time, well, it's not what you said. I love this one. It's not what you said, it's how you. That is the biggest crock of shit I ever heard. It's what I may have said it a certain way, but I could have said that with sugar on top and you wouldn't have liked it. Okay. Okay. You know, babe, your butt is hanging out of those pants and it's not as cute as it used to be with sugar on top. I know for a fact that some things you just don't, and you know this, some things people just don't want to hear. They don't want to hear it. So no matter how you say it, they're not going to like it. So you can't say it. And then what happens? You stop talking. I always tell people this. When people go, I just didn't want to say anything. I'm just like, you know what? It can come out now or come out in divorce court. It's going to come out.
Yeah.
Why not let it come out now so it doesn't make it to divorce court?
Yeah.
And when it comes out, how about the other person actually do something about it?
Yeah.
Actually listen to what they say and actually give a shit enough to do something about it. Babe, I don't like when you blah, blah, blah. It really makes me feel this way. And you go, okay, I'll stop. You ever heard of that? Instead of all the reasons, like the other day, me and my girlfriend are going through this right now, the words that we use. Mm-hmm. And her whole family's this way. And I'm like trying to get them, I'm like, do you realize that y'all are the most confrontational, argumentative people? Anything I say to y'all can't just answer it. Y'all got to give me all the reasons why it happened. I'm like, can you guys turn the TV off? Because y'all leave the TV running all night. Can y'all turn the TV off before y'all go to bed? I didn't have the remote. I wasn't the last one up. I'm like, a simple yes would have been so funny. But it goes to all of this accusatory finger point. It wasn't me, it was her. Mm-hmm. I didn't have the remote, and it turned, and all of a sudden it's an argument now. Yeah. It wasn't an argument when I first said, could you turn it off? Because I didn't go, who left it on? I said, can you just turn it off? And it happens all the time. And the other day she did it again. And I go, do you see because she got mad at me when I first told her this. She was like, it sounds like you want to be controlling. I'm like, no, I'm trying to have better communication. I'm trying to have easier communication. But y'all don't know how to do that. I said, when I first met your family, I noticed y'all find ways to argue about stuff. Y'all just look for them. I don't want to argue. I just want to get my point across and get the hell out of Dodge. So I said, do you notice when you tell me something, when you go, hey, babe, blah, 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 I just go, yes. Because that's all you really want to hear. I always tell people this. Give the answer that you'd want to hear.
Yeah.
If you tell your husband a problem, what do you want to hear from him? Okay, babe, it'll stop. Why don't you give that same answer, that same response? Because that's really all he's trying to get is whatever this is to stop. All you're looking for is for this behavior to stop. So why not say, okay, I'll stop instead of all your reasons? So because when they do that, this is what happens. When you keep going, Well, I didn't mean to. Oh, so I guess you're not gonna stop? Because all I asked you was to stop. And you haven't said yes yet.
Yeah.
So I guess this isn't gonna change. And this happens in all our relationships. Everybody listening that's single has gone through this. You're the culprit. You both are the culprit. The other person, I've been the culprit. The one thing you will never hear me say is that I'm above, and I did all of this shit I'm saying. I did it all.
Yeah.
I did it all. Every single bad thing I'm saying, I did them all. I just finally realized I was doing them.
Well, I think too, when you're in that mode of not wanting to just say, okay, I'm sorry, I'm going to do better at that. I think sometimes you're in this mode of not believing that you're doing those things that they're saying, right? And so a lot of times you have to actually open your mind and say, okay, well, this person is coming to me with this information. My partner is saying, you're doing this. This is the way it's making me feel. It's obviously real to them. And whether you think it is something that you're doing or not, you have to actually take a second look at it and say, it's possible that I'm actually doing this and I might need to change
Doesn't matter if you believe. Here's the funny part. I did this too. Same thing. It doesn't matter if you believe it or not.
Yeah, 100%.
It doesn't matter if I believe that what I said bothered her. It bothered her.
Exactly.
She's not saying it bothered her if it didn't bother her.
Yep.
So if what I said bothered you, I need to go, okay, that bothered her. Here's the question. Do I need to say that? If I don't need to say that, then stop saying it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, do I really need to do that? Not really. So why don't I just stop doing it?
Yeah.
And that's what I see when I met all these different people. I was like, a lot of people don't realize that they're just not willing to budge. Another saying that I always use, I don't need to be right. I just want the situation to be right.
Yeah.
Once you stop trying to be right all the God, I got news for any guys listening. If you are going to argue with your woman, or even women, I'm sorry, both. If you're going to argue with your partner to win the argument, you both just lost.
Yes. I tell my kids that all the time.
Because no one should walk away happy and the other one upset. If the discussion turns out perfect, you know what happens? Both of y'all are a little bit still pissed off.
Yep.
Nobody quite got what they wanted, but both of you are okay with it. That's getting it right. I'm walking away going, you know what? I need to stop saying that. She's walking away going, okay, at least he heard me. At least he heard me. And like you said, you're sitting there going, well, am I doing this? It doesn't matter what you think. Just listen to what they're saying and go, okay, well, if that behavior that I'm doing is creating this scenario, I need to stop doing that. Now, if you got to keep doing it, this is what I mean by at the very beginning of relationships. Also, don't fall in love. Stop falling in love in 2 minutes, people. Stop falling in. I just want, and I hate love. I just want to be in love. You know how many people get divorced in love? They still love each other and they're getting divorced. Happens every day.
Yep.
Every day. I love him. I just can't live with him.
Mm-hmm.
So stop hooking up with people and falling in love so goddamn fast. Like, what are you in love with? The idea of being in love?
Yeah.
Shouldn't you like have I told my girl, don't fall in love with me until I give you a damn good reason. Like, I proved to you over a period of time, consistency in my words and my actions.
Yeah.
I prove to you that I'm there for you. I told her this. I go, don't take me if I don't prove these things to you, because I got news for you. You got to prove that shit to me. I let her know straight up. All this stuff I'm telling you that I'm doing, I want you to do the same exact thing. That way, if we decide that to do this down the line, we're on the same freaking page. We both agreed, because she knows. I go, look, if we're together 2-3 years, we could be together a lifetime if we choose to be. If we choose to be. Any problem that happens, that's not a problem that gets between us. It's a problem that we need to handle.
Yeah.
So we handle it together. We don't handle it by name calling, like you forget, somebody forgets to make a car payment.
Mm-hmm.
It could be, okay, let's just handle the car payment, or how could you forget that? You're stupid. Now it's personal. Now it's not the car payment anymore. Now it's me. And that's what people do. They don't see this. So when they're single and they're walking around telling themselves that everybody else is the problem. Like you hear them all the time, women, there's just no good men out there. No good men are talking to you because they don't feel the energy. I'm gonna tell you right now, if you have bad and negative energy, you will never find a good dude, ever, because his energy is going to repel. They're gonna see you and be like, nope. That whole gut thing that we talk about, that you're not supposed. I was talking to my girlfriend's mother the other day, and we were talking about that. And I said, people listen to what, because you know how people are. A lot of women, and I get it. A lot of lying, guys telling women what they want to hear. It happened to me, happened to Johnny Depp. Okay, he's dealing with quite a situation, and I went through the same thing. Not as bad as his, but pretty bad. I believed everything. I wanted to believe everything that she said. Once I got out of that relationship, I go, stop convincing yourself that. Stop talking yourself into believing everything someone says. Go by how you feel.
Yeah, there's usually those red flags that come up, and you sometimes are like, okay, well, they might need this. They might need me to give more. They might need.
If I'm nicer, if I'm this, this will change. But I mean, even more than that, this has nothing to do. She even said, she goes, well, we went to couples counseling. I go, you don't learn this. What I'm gonna tell you, you don't find out in couples counseling. It doesn't. It's not because of what they say. It's not because of what they act like. Has nothing to do with any action or conversation. It's just that feeling. You ever walk by ever meet a bunch of people and they go, this is so-and-so, this is so-and-so. And you're like, I don't like that dude. I just don't like that dude. There's something about that dude. You ain't even talk to him.
Yeah.
Or a girl, I don't like her. I just don't like her. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And that's why you don't fall in love. Pay attention to how you feel around that person. Yeah. If you walk up to that person and it's just not warm, and then don't even go there at all. Walk away.
And be patient enough to be able to say, I can move on. Because I think when you're older, you feel like you've got to have to stay with that person because all of a sudden it sort of worked out, right? You're like, it sort of feels okay. And so I'm going to stick with that because I don't think there's very many options out there. And here's the crazy
felt that way.
I was looking at studies this morning, and those who are single, like 40-year-olds and older, half of 40-year-olds are single. You know what that means? That there are half of the 40-year-old and older population that is out there looking for the same type, well, not the same exact thing, but that you could fit with. So be patient and realize that you are worth having that good feeling, knowing that person is.
And work on yourself while you wait.
Yes.
Stop waiting for this is what I noticed. I even said this to my girlfriend. I go, can I ask you a question? I go, when you left your relationships, did you leave your relationships just figuring out, I'll just change the source? Or did you go, not only am I going to change them, but I'm going to do some changing too. I'm going to do some changing while I look, because the more I change, the more my picks, the type of person I was looking for kept changing. Because I was like, you know what? I want peace. I want peace 24/7. So I can't be with no person who likes drama. So when I met people who loved all the drama, and here's another thing that we don't do. You know how easy it is to pick a person's brain without ever asking them a question? Watch a TV show, watch the news, listen to how they respond to things outside of your conversation. If there's a situation, there's a fire at a gay bar, and they're like, well, you know what? Look at those gay people anyway. You know something. You just learned something very big about this person.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. You know how many people I've talked to who are with racist husbands and wives, and they're like, yeah, my husband doesn't like this. I'm like, then why are you with him? You're with a husband that's racist, doesn't like this. Why would you? Well, and you know their relationship isn't good. You know it's not.
Yeah.
So you don't even have to ask questions. Just listen. Mm-hmm. Watch him. If you want to know if a guy has wandering eyes, watch his eyes. Go someplace where there's a lot of women and see how he acts. See if he can focus on you or he's always moving his head. If he's moving his head, get out of there. Don't even finish the date and I'm good. Don't come back.
Yeah.
But you have, like you said, you gotta be patient. Stay out. Like people say, well, you're not supposed to look. If you're not looking, how are you going to find what you want? You have to be looking. Just
Mhm.
don't be impatient about it.
Yeah.
Don't grab the first one that sounds good. As soon as you meet somebody, say, hey, let's tell me about yourself. Take sex off the table. I would tell women straight up, look, sex is off the table. I don't even want to do that. They would be like, what? Never? And I'm like, no, not never. I'm like, no, not never.
Wait,
Like,
now you're throwing it off the table. You're taking it away from us women, huh?
I said, because you women like to use that again, use that to control men. I'm taking that control thing out the window right now. We're going to talk first. Let's just see if we even like each other, if we even want to do that. And most women think men, that's all they want. With me, I took that off the table. Because they're like, the first thing men want is sex. I'm like, not me. I don't even want to touch you. If we can't get through this cup of coffee, we don't need to even shake hands. I'm good. Yeah. And I swear, they would look like this. I was like, man, I should have used this a long time ago. Okay.
So what do you think it is? Like, why? I mean, I've read a lot of things. I've just been kind of listening to a few different podcasts too, just learning about what other people feel about marriage nowadays. And a lot of them are kind of saying that they're getting away from it because of it being due to religious reasons to getting married, having kids. What is your reason? I'm just kind of curious and interested.
I don't let religion dictate my what I do. I think marriage is important to me for one reason only. It means you're serious.
Okay.
It means you're serious. Because think about this. If you're in a real relationship, what's the difference between being married and not? Nothing. I still got to do the same things. Mm-hmm. When I got married last time, people was like, after we got married, so Idrise, what's the difference between married and not being married? I'm like, the only difference is if she comes up missing, the spouse is the first suspect. I'm the number one suspect if she comes up missing. That's really the only difference. So what's the big deal? The big deal is you can't just walk away from a marriage.
Yeah.
If you're just dating, you could just walk away. And that's what people want to leave there. So when you tell me that, you're telling me you want that option. And I'm like, oh, so you want me to spend all my time, my money, my effort, my heart, because I don't do like 50, I give 100. I'm all in or I'm not.
Yeah.
So you want me to be all in when you got 1 foot in and 1 foot out because of your past? That means I'm not even being considered. You're basing me off of your history. I can't win that. Yeah. This is what people don't understand. If you're a woman who is holding on to your crap, the person that you're with is now in a poly relationship, and they're in a reluctant poly relationship. It's me, you, and your ex, because he's still controlling some of this relationship.
Yeah, it happens so much.
All the time.
So much. And until you're able to get past those things, like you're constantly bringing up your ex in your.
And men do it to women too. Men do it to women. Let me not act like only women do this. Men do it too. Mm-hmm. I have a friend in California that was dating this dude, and she was like, "Well, he keeps saying he doesn't want to get married," and I'm like, "Then why are you even messing with him?" And she's like, I'm not saying you have to get married, but the fact that he won't, don't even mess with him. He's letting you know right now, I'm not going to really be in this with you. I said, why would you? So I didn't talk to her for months. And then the other day I texted her and I was like, how was Mother's Day, whatever. And I was like, so how's your friend? She was like, oh, you mean Mr. Non-committal? He's gone. I was like, thank you.
It's really what it comes down to, because everybody has these different situations that they come out of, right? And everybody is handling them in different ways. And some people aren't ready to make that next step to get into a relationship. And
some never get there.
Yeah,
they never get there.
Yeah, so you really do need to make sure that what you want out of the relationship is told up front. I think that is huge, because especially like I have a lot of guy friends that are going through divorces right now. And I mean, their biggest scare is, okay, they just had to split their income. That's a huge financial loss for them. And to think that that doesn't play into the next relationship, you're fooling yourself, because that is
It's
on the thought,
huge.
especially when they have young kids that they still have to take care of in the next relationship if they choose to go
Like,
that direction.
you think about this. All these women who are running around and talking about they're afraid to get married, they don't want to get married. They're not the ones who get their pockets dug out when they get divorced.
Yeah,
It's usually the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like I watched something the other day. I put it on my Facebook. There was this attorney that was talking about all the situations with child support with men. It's horrific. Some of the stuff that these guys, the money that they take from these guys, not even their kids. Sometimes it's not even their kids. It's somebody else's kid. But because you married them, you have to pay for somebody else's kid now.
Yeah.
I mean, it is horrible, like what these courts are doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's horrible, man. Like the guys who, there's people, my kid, I pay for. Like when me and my ex split up, I paid child support till my daughter turned 18 and was in college. When I left, but when me and my son's mom split up, I took him. I never got a dime. Never asked for a dime. Never asked for. I didn't get nothing. Okay, so I when I hear this stuff, I'm like, no. When it's the other way around, we have to. When it's the other way, it's like, not so much. But yet, I still had to raise him. I had to put food in. I had to do all the same stuff, but I didn't get anything.
Yeah.
Nothing.
So I think that's like a scare too that people have. Honestly, like I know even just talking to my guy friends and the things that they go through, that is like something that they worry about. And I do think that having that conversation straight up in the beginning is just the way to go. And you really have to just do it.
And stop listening to people with your ears. Listen to people with your gut, with your stomach. Like, does this feel right? Do I feel like this person's? That's why when we're watching this Amber Heard thing, our gut tells us that she is just making things up as she goes along. So no matter what she says, we're all going, I can't, I'm sorry. It's funny. The people that try to support her, they're not supporting her for any other reason than they just feel like, okay, we just got to support you. It ain't because they believe her.
She's just the underdog right now. Right?
Yeah, well, it's a girl, or just the straight up man haters, because there's a lot of them nowadays who just hate men. We're wrong no matter what. But for the people who are still open-minded, or the women that still actually like guys, you gotta, guys do it, women do it. It ain't like it's one way. Guys are full of it too, but don't go by what they're saying. It doesn't matter what they say. All that matters is how you feel when you're with that person. If you go someplace with them, do you feel like you're with them, or do you feel like you're just kind of there? Yeah. Because I know people feel that. Mm-hmm. Go someplace public. Go to Disney. Go to a club. Oh, I love. People say church is the best place to meet a person. A bar. You know why? Because you get a couple of drinks in somebody, and they will show you exactly who they are. Yeah. They will tell you exactly what they think. They will show you. And then the next day, like, oh, I would have never said that if I wasn't drinking. That's why I had you drinking.
You're using it as truth serum.
Because it is truth serum. If a person, like some people, like when they talk about steroids, they talk about steroid rage. There's no such thing as a steroid rage. What it is some people do very bad on substances, and some people do okay on. The same person that when he gets drunk, he wants to fight. He's the same guy that'll do steroids and want to fight. Okay. And that's what people don't realize. No, it's not just you take steroids and you're this aggressive person. No, if you're an aggressive person, other things bring out that aggression as well. Yeah. So if you want to know if your guy is an aggressive guy or a passive guy, watch him under some alcohol. Watch how he's around people. Watch how he talks to people when he's been drinking. You're going to hear the things that they won't say when they're sober. They won't let those things out. Remember this. Alcohol doesn't make you do things you would never do. They make you do things that you don't want people to know you want to do. Mm-hmm. Like you're not all of a sudden get on alcohol and go like this. I want to have sex with a cow. I guess that's a good looking cow over there.
That might be the problem there.
That's a good looking cow. I always tell people, like people say to him, like, I've never had a drink and all of a sudden wanted to date. You know what? That guy looks good. He looked good when I got here, but he looks good now. I don't all of a sudden want to do that just because I'm drinking. So Drinking is a little bit of wine, will get people to open up. And that's what you want. You want them to open up and not be afraid to speak.
Yeah.
Otherwise they're watching their tongue, they're really on their best behavior. We call it the representative. Everybody's on their best behavior. No, I want to see your worst behavior.
Right.
I want to see that.
I want to know what I got to deal with when all that hits the fan, right?
I do, because the best behavior is not going to end your marriage. It's the bad behavior.
Yeah.
It's when things aren't so great. I want to see you when things aren't so great. I want to see you when things aren't the best. How do you handle stress? How do you handle this? How do you handle that? That should dictate marriage. Not we like each other under great terms. Like, who doesn't like each other under great terms? Do we like each other under bad situations?
Yeah.
Like you said, you and your husband went to Hawaii and y'all had to really buckle down. What's the first thing I said to you? I said, good for y'all. Y'all supported each other and hung by each other through thick, through thin. And now the good times are coming. And what y'all can do, Cherie, is for the rest of your life, y'all have memories of fighting through the tough times. So when more tough times come up, you have a memory of, we already got through this once. We can get through it again.
Yeah.
That's what people don't have. They don't have a history with this person of getting through tough times. So it's easy to walk away from a relationship when you have nothing to hold on to. Or we hold on for too long because of a few good times.
Yeah.
And we forget, like, those bad times are way worse than those good times.
I really love that you said that, because there are still hard times that we go through, right? We still have things in our relationship that we have to deal with and we have to talk about. And when I look back at our past, I was like, yeah, we dealt with that. We made it through. We got this. Like, that's what goes through my head every time.
Exactly. I'm telling you, it goes through your head.
Right here does not mean
compare. This pales in comparison to that shit.
I can handle this. That was hard, and this is easy. So let's not let this easy thing ruin us right now.
Right. I did that with, like I said, I was with somebody who was, she had bipolar, borderline socio, and ADHD. So when I left that relationship, I told, like, this one, I said, look, after what I went through, you're a piece of cake. I can handle anything you throw at me. I just got through that. Oh, I'm good here. I can do it.
And being able to say, I am worth having somebody great again, right? Because sometimes I think you fall into this category of being like, well, that was all I could get, or I can't move forward and get anything better, right? And actually know for yourself that you're worth finding that person.
That's a whole nother hour, because that's about self-esteem and self-love. Yes. And how do you lose yourself? How do you lose your love for yourself? That's a whole, that's not just an hour, man. That's what I do. Like I said, I've helped 4 or 5 women leave abusive marriages just by helping them lose weight and build their self-esteem. Yeah. Because if you lose weight just by, like, a lap band surgery, you didn't build any equity that you build when you like you're working out. When you know this, when you work out and change your body, you feel really different than if you just woke up with your body changed.
Yep.
Because you worked for it. You worked your ass off for it. Mm-hmm. So all of these women that I helped do this, I had a woman named Elaine. We were doing a TV show. I used to do a morning segment with the news in Palm Springs called Today's Fitness with Mr. USA. And Elaine, we took four fans, and I worked with them all. Elaine lost 20 pounds. And she first told me it was an accident. Then she wanted to ride a motorcycle. Then later on, after the 20 pounds came off, she said she was in an abusive relationship. And she goes, I got fat because I didn't want him touching me anymore. And I wanted to become as attractive as I could. She goes, and after I took the weight off, Idrise kind of taught me that Then I lost the weight, and men started talking to me again. And I started eating again. And I caught myself. And she was like, I remember Idrise told me, I don't have to resort to that. I can just say no.
Yeah.
So she just built up enough confidence to start saying, no, I'm okay.
Wow. Yeah.
So what you're talking about is completely a whole
other conversation.
We can have it, but not right now. I got a doctor's appointment.
Yeah. So let's This was fun today. I love having these chats with you because it gives me a whole different perspective, and I get to have a different audience of people and get a perspective from somebody who might be going through the same thing. Sometimes it's hard for me to connect in that aspect, but I really love that we
The
have.
truth is I'm a lot older than you, and that's what he's like 106, so he's been around a little longer.
Yeah, that old guy right there. Oh, over there. And just
Tell him about the depression, Idrise. Tell him about the depression.
No, but this is what I love. We can have so many different perspectives, and I love that we come together. We have this conversation because I hope that we can help people and help them to see what they need to figure out what they want in a relationship before they get into it, because you don't want to have to go through that. I mean, marriage is something that can be amazing and beautiful, but you have to start it out the right way.
Marriage can be awesome if you understand why you're doing it and you make choices based off of you, not the other person, you. And then they make their choices off of themselves. And now you bring that together. You don't change who you are to be in a relationship. You don't do it. You got to, but you got to know who you are, and you got to know your faults. Your faults and the things that you do that aren't good is actually more important than knowing the good stuff.
Yeah.
Because those are the things that's going to, like you said, I don't even know I'm doing that. Well, that's a problem. You don't even know you're doing that.
Yeah.
You're doing stuff that you don't even know.
I love that. That's the problem right there, right? And I've been there, right?
I've been there. I didn't know I was. I didn't realize, like, the way I was talking. I would say to women, "You get over it. You get over it," because I didn't really understand how hurt really felt, because men are taught to ignore it. So after counseling, I realized. One day I came. I was like, you know what? That hurt me. I was like, that's what hurt feels like. That's what I keep telling these women. You'll get over it. You don't just get over that. Yeah. Oh, okay. I can't. I stopped saying that. So I grew. I was like, oh, I can't say that no more, because I know what hurt feels like. And I need to deal with this instead of just telling them to get over it. It's not something you just get over. So that's what I mean. If you don't know you're doing it, you're going to keep doing it. Mm-hmm. And you got to, and if somebody's telling you you're doing it, guess what? You're probably doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, so listen, I love that through this whole thing, it's been really big on communication, because that is really the key to keeping a happy marriage, keeping a good relationship, is being able to say those things. So I love that. But I know you got to get going, so
gotta go.
End this. But thank you, Idrise. This was fun, and I can't wait to talk to you later this week. So.
I am out, y'all. Y'all have a good weekend. I'm signing out.
Sounds good. See ya.
All right, bye.
Okay, you guys, this was a lot of fun, and hopefully you guys get some of that, take some of this information in and really use it in your own lives, because really, if you're going through hard times in your relationship, the only way you can help it, the only way you can get through it, is to have that conversation. And if your partner is not willing to have that conversation, then that's a whole other issue. But keeping that communication open, and also, marriage is one of those things that is for some people and for not other people. And that's kind of a choice that you have to make for yourself. And if you're going into new relationships, make sure that they have the same end goal that you have. You don't want to be surprised down the road and wonder why they don't want to get married. Make sure that they actually want that for themselves. You don't want to take something from them that they don't actually want and force them into a situation. So just make sure that you're beginning your relationships the right way, so that you can both get out of the relationship what you want, because you can't just look for what you want. You have to be willing to give also. Give to those moments, those things, those talents, those hobbies that the other person wants and that they don't want to sacrifice. Make sure that you're there for them and you support them, and that you maybe even want to become interested in those same things as well. Leave that open, give that opportunity a chance. But definitely make sure that you start the relationship off the right way. Make sure that you guys are going into it saying, this is what I need, this is what I want, this is what I will not sacrifice. And make sure you're heard. If you're not heard in your relationship, then you need to have more conversations and let the other person know. But hopefully this was good for you guys. This is a fun chat, and hope to see you guys soon. Thanks, guys.